This is Keys to the Shop, episode 341, How to Think About Success. Well, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Keys to the Shop, where we give you insights, inspiration, and the tools you need to grow as a coffee service professional. My name is Chris DeFirio. I am your host for the show. Don't forget to subscribe to Keys to the Shop. You just hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this show right now. You'll always be updated with new content as it comes out. We always have a lot of great things in store for you, from these main episodes to the shift breaks, Rate of Rise, roasting focused series, as well as the Founder Fridays, where we talk to amazing coffee entrepreneurs. So again, subscribe to Keys to the Shop. And if you have the opportunity to leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, that would be awesome. And share these episodes with a friend or your team. Thank you so much. Now, Keys to the Shop also does consulting and coaching for you and your business. If you're just getting started in coffee and you need a trusted advisor along the journey, or you're already an operator, but you need to take things to the next level. Maybe you have some problems you need solved, you're scaling, you want to refine what you do. There's a lot of ways that Keys to the Shop Consulting can come alongside you and help you in those areas, whether remotely or in person. All you need to do to set up a free discovery call is email chris@keystotheshop.com. That's CHRIS @keystotheshop.com to find out more about working with Keys to the Shop Consulting. Today's episode of Keys to the Shop is brought to you by the Ground Control Cyclops Brewer from Voga Coffee. It's absolutely revolutionizing batch brew coffee as we know it the world over because of the SCA award-winning technology and the award-winning design of the Ground Control Brewer. It allows the user to extract an incredible range of flavors and give you such precise control over that extraction. It's like getting to know your coffee all over again. And you absolutely benefit not only from this level up in the quality of your batch brew coffee, but also there's a ton of versatility and efficiency because it makes tea, batched iced lattes, batch cold brew. And so it's a workhorse and a level up in your coffee all in one. Go check them out over at groundcontrol.coffee and see why some of the world's best coffee bars are choosing to express their coffees through this technology, again, for a level up in quality and efficiency, and for something that frankly just looks awesome, making coffee. You should really consider getting a Ground Control Cyclops brewer in your shop. For more information, again, go visit them at groundcontrol.coffee. Today's episode is also brought to you by the Pacific Barista Series. The Barista Series is designed for professional baristas and with a ton of feedback from some of the world's best baristas, so they can honestly say this is a performance beverage. This plant-based performance beverage absolutely stands up to the heat from steaming, produces amazing silky texture for latte arts, and keeps the balance of the beverage focused on the coffee. Every one of the beverages in the extensive lineup of the Barista Series is dialed in to wow you and your customers. You should check them out over at pacificfoodservice.com. Get it in your store and try it for yourself. Have your staff try it. I think you're all really going to be impressed by what the Barista Series has to offer. If you are looking for quality and giving your customers the best plant-based beverage possible and the best expression of your coffee in a plant-based beverage, then I think you really need to be using the Barista Series from Pacific. All right, everybody. Well, today I wanted to talk about success and what success looks like. It's a good question. We don't really often drill down into the idea of what success is because I think we have assumptions about what success looks like. Success looks like making a lot of money and being profitable. And that's true in a lot of ways. You know, a lot of us are not profitable and we're hoping to reach the point where we're in the black and we're actually making profit. And that is a great thing to be aiming for. Of course, that's the baseline for success in a business. But I think we get ourselves in trouble, and what a kind of trouble, maybe we risk more in terms of, burnout in the process of chasing something like profit as the end all. And there could be other forms of trouble that come down the pike as a result of having just profit as the sole motivator. And make no mistake, profit is amazing. You absolutely should seek to be profitable as much as you possibly can. However, there are other markers of success that need to keep that pursuit in line and should be equally weighted when it comes to what you start thinking of success as. Especially if you're just starting, you need to have a great foundation and understanding of what it is you're doing and why you're doing it. And so as we all try to grow our businesses and be profitable, I think there are 4 areas that I wanted to cover that need to be part of how we think of, are we successful? When we look back at any kind of endeavor, we want to see that we did a good job and that our legacy is not just that we made buttload of money, but we did something beyond that. And if we can say that, it's very likely that we didn't just accidentally create fulfilling circumstances on the way to pursuing only profit. It's more likely that we had a variety of different goals before our eyes, along with profit, that helped us create those things along the way. So these are things that we should always be considering as we look to see, hey, let's check in. How successful are we being right now? So the first thing I wanted to talk about is caring for those who are under your care. I mean, that's the first thing that we talk about in a lot of our episodes in people first systems, being a people first leader, caring for your staff like they're your customers, and beyond. It's always something that we need to be pursuing, because caring for people is one of the first things that tends to be forgotten about. And the reason why it gets forgotten about is because we're human and we try to protect ourselves. And so out of self-preservation, the first thing that goes is preservation of others. And so we then wonder why people leave our businesses and we don't have a good reputation, and it impacts the bottom line, and it just doesn't feel like it used to feel. The culture is suffering, and it's because we don't consider as a metric of success the happiness of our staff. And now that is a rabbit hole that you could fall down into really deeply and never reach the bottom when it comes to, having happy staff means at all costs do whatever they want to be happy. You've got to come at this with some measure of you can't do everything the staff wants you to do at all times. There's an element of saying no. You can't just please everybody. However, there are basics about caring for your staff, and we link to episodes in the show notes regarding other episodes that we talked about resourcing your team, top 10 reasons why people leave your coffee bar, and people first systems, etc. Those are all primers for learning how to prioritize people, and that is all begging you to make care for people and care for those caring for your business a priority and a metric of success. You can look back, just like anybody can look back over, I can look to see if those staff members are having a good time. Are they generally really, satisfied and cared for in their work? You can tell, you really can tell if people are happy with what they're doing. And it's not just hiring happy people, more often than not, when you have a dysfunctional staff, it's not because they started out dysfunctional. I think a lot of times it's because they started out with high hopes and then they got those hopes dashed to pieces by a dysfunctional environment. And it's because we're trying to measure success only one way: make more money, make more money, make more money. That's it. And everything else is just a matter of do what I say, and we're not really going to put a lot of attention into caring for you or making you happy, even though that's like the number one thing that can help your business be stable and profitable. But beyond that, it's just very satisfying to know that you've provided something in the way of a cultural experience for people that is not only helping your profit, but it's helping them have a great life. I mean, that's pretty rewarding. I love working with people who have a greater goal beyond just making money, that there's something behind that. It's not the money itself, it's what money represents. It's the story behind it, the people behind it. Like when we talk about metrics, when you look at Square or anything else, those lines that go up and down, that represents families and individuals and people. And when you humanize the metrics and data, it really tells a different story. And so caring for those in your care has to be a metric of success that you have at the top of your list, right? Now, the second thing I want to talk about is personal growth. When you start the process of being an owner or an operator of a coffee bar, there's an enormous amount of atmospheric drag that happens when you enter into the entrepreneur world or the leadership world that changes you. It pushes against you and it gives you so much resistance. And half of the effort that we expend has to do with the avoidance of that resistance. Now, I've talked about this before in an episode that's talking about how hard work is hard and we shouldn't expect work to be easy. There is necessary suffering that happens, and then there is unnecessary suffering. Now, we want to eliminate unnecessary suffering and problems and challenges, but there's always going to be hardship as there's formation. Formation happens as a result of shift and resistance. That happens to you personally as you pursue things professionally. You can't separate the two. Anybody who's been in business, if you heard me talk to anyone on this show about their journey as a professional throughout the years, on Founder Fridays, I say, how have you changed in the 10 to 20 years you've been running a coffee bar? Even the people that have been open for only 3 years will say, it really changed me this way, and I am like a different person today because it really challenged me in ways that I wouldn't have been challenged before. And when you think about it, in life, there's not many circumstances, if any, that could really match putting yourself in this environment of leadership of a group of people making coffee day in and day out. That doesn't happen by, just reading books. It happens by doing the work. So one of the metrics of success is not so much how you avoided hardship, but how you respond to it and how you personally have developed as a leader and as a person as a result of it. We've talked about this with the organization and how you shouldn't waste problems. When problems come up in your business, you should create systemic solutions for those things, so that they don't get repeated needlessly. Another way to waste challenges is to not let it positively impact your evolution as a person, as a professional. And if you were the same person 20 years later after starting a coffee bar, I wonder if you've really been using this time wisely. I think a metric of success is the development of more maturity as a person and the development that you have as a person. And guess what? If you embrace that, if you showcase that as a sign that you know that you're being successful because you're getting better, I'm getting better, then other people are going to start to adopt that same metric of success. So you could even say, are the people with me getting better also? That might be an element of caring for those in your care. But if you take on seriously the idea of personal growth in the process, then you're going to show people that personal growth is something that's valued here because it's valued with you. And you're going to have a group of people who are dedicated to personal growth. I mean, talk about a dream team. Doesn't matter who's working with you. If you're all dedicated to, caring for each other and getting better as individuals, there's almost nothing you can't do. So when it comes to success, I think personal growth has to be one of the things that you keep before your eyes going forward in any kind of coffee shop or retail expression. It's just part of the equation of success that needs to be there. Now, when you're on this path of development and growth and care, this environment is contagious and it will spread. Another metric of success is that you have impact. That impact happens based on what you create within the walls of your shop. It spreads outward. People get to experience you, your business, your staff, the culture. and you have impact on your community. And it's not just in the daily interactions. Many shops, of course, coffee shops are known as the third place. They offer a platform on which your community can do life together. They do life together in these little bursts, group meetings, individually, just like pursuing your art form, interacting with the staff, being inspired from, watching great drinks being made. The list is endless of different ways that the coffee shop has an impact on the community. And naturally, any coffee shop is going to have impact. So it's almost kind of part of the kit. If there was such thing as like a coffee house kit in a box, community impact just happens. So you don't have to work at it necessarily. Good community impact, you do. If you really want to make a positive and lasting impact, you have to take this seriously as a goal, as a metric of success, to say, have we been successful? Let's see about how we've impacted the community. And then if we want to move the needle in that area, we need to start taking this innate element of coffee shops and start really leveraging it and using it and growing our capacity to impact. So getting involved in things in your community could be one of those ways. Hosting things within your four walls could be another. Just amplifying the way that you care for your community through hospitality interactions is a great place to start. But if your community is not a better place because of your coffee shop in a tangible and identifiable way, then I think you have work to do, because that's what you're getting into. It may not be what you got into if you thought about this as just a profit-making machine, then you might not consider community impact. It doesn't bother you that you can't identify how you've grown, or, that you're not really making forward progress on caring for your staff, or that you're not making community impact. It doesn't bother you because you're just after money. But what it does bother you later when people leave, and when people aren't as supportive of your business during hard times because they don't have a lot of ownership in it, because you didn't have as much impact as you could have. So downstream, we feel the impact of the lack of those things. The key is generating this as a goal when you first start out. How can what we do start out with intentional relationships of impact in our community? And how can just the presence of this shop be an asset to this neighborhood and to this community? And then plan it out, figure out how to evolve it. And it's going to look different for each of you, of course, but I think intentionality is the key word here, and not just, assuming that it's going to happen. Assumption really doesn't accomplish much, and it certainly won't give you any kind of feeling of success. But when it comes to metrics of success, community impact is one that definitely needs to be in there. And finally, what I want to talk about here is long-term creation. Long-term creation has more to do with the legacy of a brand and the opportunities that it creates for others from its presence. So you might consider it community impact, but I think it's more than that. We talk about the ability for a coffee bar, which is a first job for a lot of people, or one of the first jobs for a lot of young people, is a springboard into other careers. And that is part of our heritage, is part of the honor of running a coffee bar that we don't often think about as an honor. We think about it as a detriment, because we have this revolving door of employees and, the training and, the hiring and all this other stuff. But we have this revolving door. It's always going to be there. You're always going to have people that are getting temporary jobs in coffee shops. And if we embrace the idea that their time with us is an opportunity for us to launch them into the world as better people, then I think what we're engaging in is long-term creation. If your coffee bar was the genesis for an institution in your community, that's long-term creation as well. Something that if your coffee bar went out of business, that would be your legacy. That would be one of the things. I spent time in that coffee bar and it taught me how to be a great leader. I spent time in that coffee bar, and because of my conversations with the staff there and the owner, I ended up starting this business, and this business lives on, and this institution in the community lives on. There's different things that you can think about that fold into the idea of legacy, and especially focused on your staff. Long-term creation, it goes beyond the existence of your coffee bar, and it really is about making the world a better place. Again, I'll go back to the idea of how it's an honor to host people in our shop where we have the ability to create long-term change and impact in the world because of these seemingly throwaway conversations. If you think about it, to this day, you will remember some of the most inane conversations that you've ever had in your life because of jobs that you had at ice cream stands and burger places and coffee bars to this day, both inane and profound. So how can we multiply the profound? How can we multiply the positive? How can we have this impact of long-term creation of great leaders and institutions and multiply the impact of our business worldwide? This is what is possible just through a cup of coffee, and it's one of the metrics of success that we should be looking at beyond just making money. And of course, there's a lot of different ways that you can use the money that you make to make these things possible. Hardly any of this is possible if you're not profitable. And so you need to mind your P's and Q's. Obviously, you need to have things buttoned up and have good operations and, lead well and curate and price appropriately, and all of the basics need to be in place. But these other 4 things need to also be part of that equation, or else I worry that our success will be kind of shallow and it won't be as fulfilling to run a coffee business as it would otherwise. So I hope that some of this was helpful to you today, and I'm interested to hear what you think about what it means to be successful in a coffee shop. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback about today's episode, definitely email me, chris@keystotheshop.com. That's also where you can reach out for information about Keys to the Shop Consulting, chris@keystotheshop.com. Now, don't forget Coffee Fest this year, 30 years old. Coffee Fest trade shows have been going on for 3 decades, and it's one of the most impactful and most valuable trade show, retail event experiences that you can go to. If you're interested in thriving as a coffee professional, invigorating your team, networking with like-minded professionals in the coffee retail space, then this is the place to go. It happens 4 times a year. The remaining shows this year are happening in Chicago, Los Angeles, and in Seattle. You can go to coffeefest.com to learn more about each show, the free and accessibly priced trainings and workshops and seminars that I'm going to be participating in at all of the shows. There's the trade show floor, the competitions like cold brew and latte art, and of course, the community of coffee that's always very fun to be around. So I hope to see you at one of these shows. Use the code KEYS when you go to register to get 50% off your registration fee. Again, the code KEYS at coffeefest.com to get 50% off registration for you and your team in all 2022 shows. Definitely worth checking out, again, over at coffeefest.com. And with that, that is the end of our show today, everybody. I'm really happy to have had you along. Hopefully our talk about success sparked some thoughts that will lead to more action and more fulfillment in your pursuit of your coffee dreams. Have an amazing day. And as always, I hope that this episode has truly given you keys to the shop.